is the handheld version of the Trakker Lite software. This is the Trakker Lite for web tracker. To log in, you'll put in your username and password as it was given to you. Your choices here are OK, cancel, sync now, and check for updates. Cancel will give you the option to exit out of the program. Sync now will synchronize to the server and download any updates. This could be useful if you are setting up a new user or you forgot your password and you're resetting it on the server and you need to get those changes through. Check for updates will check for updates to the program, and then the OK will continue in to log on to the Trakker Lite program. In here we have several options. We have on hand, we have stocked, and we have emergency. Then we have the count date, database cleanup, and maintenance. In order to enter our counts, first thing we want to make sure is that we're counting for what date we're counting for. So you choose count date, select your date, make sure that the date is your current date. And you can use the drop down to choose it. Now we should be able to count on hand or count everything with the stock. The difference between on hand and stock count is that the on hand is just simply the count of how many do we have right now, which would then feed into then stocking them. So let's take a look at the on hand. On hand, we open up the station. We can do it by double tapping on it. We'll highlight it and then hit enter. And as you see, all we have is this one field to fill in. On shelf. This is how many are on the shelf now. And so you just fill in whatever that value is. And you can use these left and right navigations up here instead of using the ones down here. So you don't have to keep raising and lowering this. You can just use that up there. Alright, when we're done, we can now just exit out of here, or we can print a report. And I can print out to the printer if I have the Bluetooth printer configured. I'm just going to take a look at it on screen to show you what it looks like. It says here are what are required for this station for each of these items. And this is based upon the par level minus what is already in stock. So we put 3 on there. Well, the par level on this is 0, so required is -3. And then just print out, and people can fill in these columns for later data entry. Or, as we're going to do it, we'll put it right through the handheld here in a minute. So I'm going to close. I can close this. Now I can print it, or now I'm going to just exit. I'm done here. Click OK. That exits. I come back here, fill in my other stations if I'm doing it on hand. Count. Often, though, people are going to just go straight into the stock. There's a limit stock. If you've already done the counts over there on what's on hand and doing them as separate steps, when you come in here, you will notice that these numbers are already pre-filled in from what we filled in. 3, 1, 7 as we filled in. Now you'll notice below this is the par and then the required. The par is how many were set up as this par amount that's supposed to be in here on this day, and the required is the par minus the on shelf. And that's what in order to reach that par level, that's what you should be filling in to the restock down here. Notice the restock did not fill in automatically. You need to fill that in as to what they are restocking. If they are actually restocking 11, then you can fill in here that they are restocking 11. And notice I've left that 0 there, and it saved it. 011 turned into an 11. Here's the down arrow on the D-pad. It will lower you to here, and then you can click 7. Next. Required are 0 because we've got 9. The par is 8. We just hit next, we'll leave that as 0, and you'll see if we go back, that's 0. Here required, 79. And if we're going to put in the 79, we could also say, you know what, I'm only filling in 50. And that will show up on your reports later. And that's 0, so that's fine. We click OK. And it is now saved all of that information. We go into one that we did not fill in the information already on what was still on the shelf. We come in here and just start filling it out. And say that there were 15 left on the shelf. Notice it immediately fills out the required as 20. Again, by hitting the down, I can now fill this in with the 20. Hit next, and say there were 15 left here. I can use the down D-pad, or I can just move the cursor in here and type in 60, which were required. Again, notice as soon as I type this in, that fills in the required as 0 right away. And if I didn't have any, then I can just fill this in here as 20. Next. And so forth. And then when you get them all filled in, if I didn't do anything, if I'm not restocking this at all, I can just hit the right arrow. And then once I've filled them all in, maybe the rest of these I am not filling in. See, I get to the end here. If I click next, it says that's the last record. But if I go back, all of these have 0 amounts in them now, and that's what will be sent to the server. I can now, if I want to print preview and see this information about what was required, but more often than not, you're going to be done at this point. Click OK, and you can go on to the next station. When you're done, you exit out, come back here, and you can plug this into your computer that has the active sync connected to it. Wait for the active sync, say it's connected, or if you're working on a Wi-Fi network, you can get your Wi-Fi connection turned on here, and you'll synchronize now, and that will send the data to the server. The other options on here, you also have an emergency stock, and that's very similar to what you've already been seeing. We come in here, we open up the station we're doing an emergency stock on, we find the item, and we say we're emergency stocking an additional 5 pillowcases here, and that might be the only thing we're doing. Close out of it and we're done. And that's the other column in the reports is that there is an emergency stock report as well. We already covered the count date to make sure that you're counting the date that you're doing the count. By default, when you start it up, it will be today's date, but you can change that if you're doing counts from yesterday or something. And then we have database cleanup. This you should run probably about once a week. It cleans up data about old information, old linen tracking information, cleans it out, and helps keep the handheld running faster. And then maintenance has some system settings. That's not one we're going to go into here. Thank you.